here's my cousin. He wants to climb the tree again. So let's see. يلا خالد روح اطلع. ايوه احلى. شو لك راتشز هدول شكلنا بروسكي. احلى. يا سلام. والله خالد بتسوى 100 زلمه قسما بالله. ما شاء الله عليك. طلع يعني شوف هذا guy is genius, intelligent. Look, he climbed the tree. You know, الحجم بالاختراع. ما شاء الله عليك خالي. الله يسعدك. Yeah. Look at your cousin. Where's حنيني؟ ما بدك تسلم حنين؟ ما بدك تسلم على حنين؟ شو بدك تقول له؟ ان شاء الله خالي، ان شاء الله بنشوفه عن قريب. كلاتنا بنجتمع هيك. الله لم شملنا حبيبي. الله يسعدك. So that's my nephew for you. You know, mashallah, he's 12 years of age. You know, he needs a, you know, father figure, right? يلا خالي نط إذا بدك. Careful ها. أحلى. طلع. Look at that. ما شاء الله. أسود. وحش حبيبي. الله يسعدك. تعال. هلا you're gonna say well actually no خلاص from a distance. You don't wanna, you're too shy, right? You don't want to talk to in the video. You're too shy. Just from a distance is okay. Okay خلاص أنا he doesn't want to appear in the video on close up, but he wants me to share this message with his Linda, right? Linda cousin. شو اسمها؟ cousin. بتقول لي عمسها مين؟ حنين. الله يسعدك خالي. حنين يا حبيبتي، يا حنين يا بابا. فهذا المسج لك يا حبيبتي أول شيء، لأنه هون يعني الحقيقة دائما لازم تنحكى. بالنهاية الإنسان بده يعرف شو أصله ونسي خلقه. يعني بالنهاية إحنا بنحكي بمبدأ not just you know municipal rules and regulation, right? Bylaws subject to the provincial, right? So we're talking municipalities and regulation, right? That's the the hierarchy, right? So you have municipal regulation. You live in a city. You live in a land somewhere provincial. So Ontario, for example, or Quebec, or Alberta, or anywhere. If you're Canadian, you perhaps want to go to Nunavut, right? Or perhaps you want to live in Saskatchewan. You're Canadian, right? You have under the Constitution the right to go from all the way east, east coast to the west coast in pursuit of love and happiness. So unfortunately, we live in a world that fundamental justice does not apply to the likes of people like myself, right? AJ Ahmed Jr. And you saw me earlier in the interaction with my little nephew. He's a man. He's going through, right, life motion. Junior high school. What grade? Grade 7, mashallah. So they go to school. Why do you go to school? You want to be what? You seek higher education, right? University. Otherwise, why do you go to school? Why are you going to school? What do you want to be? Have you ever thought of it?
Well, I go to school to learn and have fun.
Learn and have fun. Okay, he still hasn't got to that point where he has to be responsible. So, he obviously is with his uncle, trusted, right? You trust your uncle, right?
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, he trusts his uncle. Good. So this is basically what we call, common law. So provincial common law, right? So because here you have the civil municipality under, federal, right? Corp, Canada. Basically you are being cited under some criminal law that is federally accepted. Now, above that, the superior court. So this is the municipal law court. This is now provincial because, in a city, municipality, you would basically subject to the land that this municipality is in. So, Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, like I said before. Now, this is common law because we're talking about the livelihood and the well-being of the people, which are fundamental rights. If you live in Canada, there's the corporation, federal, right? The corporation, that is. And this is essentially how you transact business with the government of Canada, so corp. So this is the supreme law of the land. So this is again bylaws because in 1982, right? the Canadian government basically repatriated the Constitution from London, UK, the parent, right? The parent, that basically had resulted in the establishment of what? The Dominion of Canada, and basically under the British North American Act 1867. So now, from that time till 1982, basically the government, the federal government, the corporate, the vessel, to operate and run the business of this, for profit. Obviously, the government is for profit. So this is why you have, you bring in investors, you bring in business people, you bring in, investment, because again, you want to build and invest in infrastructure that is going to basically do what? Safeguard and protect the natural, unalienable natural rights and freedom, which are safeguarded by the Constitution. So the the Constitution here basically becomes what? Subject to the parent higher, and you can basically go from the physical realm where you are now in a state. So Ahmed Jr. is talking to you, and essentially we are requesting Ahmed Jr. Clan Al-Shihabi. So this is who I am, Clan Al-Shihabi. You can go on Wikipedia and find out. Right? Al-Shihabiyun. So I'm a true descendant of the Al-Shihabiyun, right? So at the end of the day, we claim the name. Now, I just so happen to be the subject of being the accused. Right? So remember, we have the trust law, so the government now is a trustee with what? Your livelihood and, fundamental unalienable rights, unalienable natural rights and freedom, which are safeguarded by the Constitution. You can go to the Canadian Charter, this is part 1, and it tells you what are the basic rights. So you can go from basic, fundamental, which are basically basic rights, to thought, belief, expression, and the fourth one is what? The fourth one is association. So, you're free to be with people, like-minded people, and, belief system or what have you. At the end of the day, I can get faith, right? So common law essentially is where the superior court of, pick your favorite jurisdiction, if you're a province, right? And the south of the border, they have their own states because, again, they have their own independence. So, and each individual state becomes part of the United Marines Corps state, right? Your state. It's different than the republic, which, again, it's common law. Abraham Lincoln, 1862, Civil War. Why? Because there was a reason. Abolishing slavery. The Spanish and the French at the time did not want to abolish, and you had the Civil War, which culminated with the assassination of no other than Abraham Lincoln. Go read your history. So yes, the problem is this: when we are in a rigged system, so now we have democracy. So democracy now, this is the trustee. The government is the trustee, right? The triangle. So municipal, again, just to recap: municipal, provincial, supreme. So any child law, so be it here or here. And this is the parent law, which is the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. Section 52, Part 1, right? It's a Part 1. Part VII of the Constitution of Canada, 1982, which basically is what? The supremacy clause that says basically any law, well, first it affirms, that the Constitution of Canada and all its amendment, and obviously that goes parent laws and what have you. It's to affirm that the Constitution of the land is the supreme law of the land, Canada. You have the Constitution now. And therefore, you are speaking with code, because this is the land you need to understand. So the Supreme Court of the land, right? So this is Supreme Court of Canada. We have it right here at 200 Wellington, I believe, Street, right? I had to go the other day because I want to bring my matter before justice. Why wait a month, 2 months when, under emergency hearing, especially when it involves family, it is within 48 hours. The same applies to any lively matter, because this is why when someone goes missing, you have to call within 24 hours. It's urgent that you, especially if you have people in your custody, you are entrusted with their lives and their well-being, and their safety is part of your duty to safeguard and protect their unalienable natural rights and freedom. Who? The children and the vulnerable people. So now, basically, we understand the trust law. So it's a trustee. The government is the trustee with what? Your fundamental unalienable natural rights and freedom under the Constitution. Now, the government is the G, right? So T is the trust and G is the, the goat, right? The government. And then you have them as basically what? You have Parliament, because Parliament has to basically dictate the laws. Now, the laws are not dictated in a dictatorship style, but it is pseudo-democracy, where now you have majority crooks in the government, the House of Commons and Senate, if you will, or legislature, well, those people are going to dream of a bell, and then with that bell, rubber stamping, because people are not subject matter experts and they don't understand the implication on a grand scale. Perhaps they're acting in bad faith or good faith, doesn't matter. You just need 51% of the vote, and those people are going to be voting, and slowly over time, it's only a question of time before now you infiltrated and you have absolute democratic country. You can ask any Canadian from coast to coast if they are happy with the state of the economy in Canada, especially with the advent of climate change and Agenda 21 under the hopes of climate change, and Net Zero Act became came into effect in 2021. That's Net Zero and the Green Energy Act and what have you. So again, I'm speaking from laws, rules, and regulations that I am astute and I'm very well versed with, because at the end of the day, you are speaking to the subject matter expert himself. So the accused that you are calling is perhaps defaming me now. I need to seek what? What exactly do I need to seek? If I need to see any medical, because this is the rabbit that you pulled out of a rabbit hat, right? So again, that will be part of the remedies, because if I sustain any, because everybody knows who AJ is. I've been on LinkedIn. I have been in the industry, aerospace, electronics, system design, engineering. Happily married for 14 years, happily divorced, so to speak, before the Superior Court of Justice, right? In Quebec, only for the same, right, jurisdiction and lower court fuckery to be involved, and then, in complicit cooperation with the Superior Court, right, judge, trying to amend otherwise amicable divorce agreement. Meanwhile, the accused, reporting on illegal activities suddenly is brought to custody and unlawfully detained, and meanwhile I'm pledging with the law enforcement that, listen, you're operating outside the rule of the law, I have a court case, it's none of your business, I'm at that point for a reason. I don't care what rules you're trying to tell me, I'm there and responding to my court matter that you are now complicit for me and directly involved, so I cannot even attend my court trial. So that's basically when I get to go and demand Supreme Court of Canada. What's wrong here? This is the video you are watching as we speak. The more I wait, the more you wait. Well, look, I told you. So this is in good faith. You can come and talk business. I have an energy solution. 24 hours, 7 days a week, 364 days a year. Right? That's